This part 1 of 6 is a plea to the head of the police in Dallas, Texas, Chief David Kunkle. Copies were forwarded to the mayor of Dallas, Tom Leppert, FBI, YouTube, and the ACLU. Chief Kunkle, sir, the recent publicity regarding one of your men, Officer Powell, who detained and terrorized a family in front of the hospital while their mother was dying, pointing a gun and saying, "I can screw you over," is far from the only lunatic police officer in Dallas. My situation is dire as my life has been threatened by Officer McCormick, badge number 6393, against whom I filed a 20-page complaint last year. For almost a year, I've been suffering his retaliatory torment, attacking me with his non-stop offensive language, slandering, posting my personal information, address, you name it, he did it. I had no idea who he was when he started posting serious violent threats against me under various accounts, the most recent Cat King 444. McCormick is a vulgar and sadistic creature, calling himself a professional, yet exhibiting the most egregious psychopathic behavior. This outrageous freak calls me a psychopath while he keeps taunting with the vilest language. McCormick is obviously measuring me by his cerebral yardstick. The disturbed, sick little man never expected me to be capable of realizing it is him. He couldn't be any more proud of his incendiary language. Chief Kunkle, McCormick's 24/7 threats are horrific. Sad part is, he has no earthly idea that he degrades the entire police force and giving away that he is indeed the local police. When I realized who the Neanderthal is, I addressed him by name and said he can lose his pension. Anyone other than McCormick had no reason to respond, and respond he did within 7 minutes. In addition, it would be illogical for anyone else to say that he forfeited nothing, especially within such a short time, or make fun of his documented counseling. This gravely disturbed man enjoys praise from his intellectual equal. After my formal complaint, McCormick's supervisor called asking what I want to happen to McCormick. We concluded that a documented counseling should aid his behavior in becoming more appropriate towards the public. But that made short stuff defiant, misspelling as usual what his counseling was about. Unfortunately, it is uneducated, pathetic hick cops like McCormick who swore to uphold the Constitution, yet convey the opposite to the entire world. Now we know who controls the system. This cancer on society McCormick at first denied, replete with his trademark professional language. What a morale booster he must be for your police department, Chief. Take away his gun, and what is left? A short, dumb, pathetic man. Does his threat that I am going away fall under serve and protect? Sir, McCormick publicly gave out my personal information, including my physical address, that he was privy to as a police officer, which is ample evidence he lacks the necessary intellect for his position. The Dallas community must seriously ask, how many times has this clodhopper shared personal information via a public forum on individuals he came in contact with in the line of duty? He is more than simply a stupid man, sir. With access to a gun, his mental deficiency poses a grave danger. The American people deserve better than a rabid megalomaniac. He should be taken off the police force immediately, as this character can possibly grasp the meaning of being a public servant. With his utter lack of moral compass and sophistication, how can anyone respect this man or the police department, sir? Is that how a professional police officer ought to comport himself, Chief Kunkle? This barbarian wasted much time and thousands of taxpayer dollars spamming comment boards non-stop with his boasting. The adoration from a bunch of fraudsters made him feel powerful. Because he is a police officer, his frequent violent threats that he will destroy me were giving the criminal enterprise USA 180 and their supporter sites leverage to attack me even more viciously. Chief Kunkle, sir, friends and family were aghast reading this. McCormick added, your neighbor is up for a civilian award, hates your guts like anyone who knows you. I never had a disagreement with any neighbors, nor have I ever filed a complaint against the police. I respectfully request the name of the neighbor McCormick implicated, please. McCormick is close friends with the entire USA 180 hinterland gang I exposed as fraudsters. They're in the same no-class social crowd. Michelle Conti is the head of the scam operation. They share the same sentiments, and all of them fight fiercely with the English grammar and diction. None of them can string one coherent sentence together, but excel at profanities. McCormick's comments to Stephen Smith, also known as Apparition 2, both borderline retards, leave nothing to the imagination. Smith is the person McCormick addresses with, "Nice job, Apparition 2." Smith got my email address from my website and sent me this 30-year-old image, deluged me with emails that strongly suggest he might be a misogynist, as he was bashing a woman who apparently allowed him to live in her home. Yet he told me when he gets enough money he will sue her. He kept sending recipes, offered to cook for me, and repeating over and again how pretty he is. He started asking for money. I ignored him. Then he suggested he move to Dallas and asked me for a job. I finally told him to cease and desist, which started his vociferous hateful slander campaign that became unbearable, mostly because of his perceived powerful support by the out-of-control, delusional McCormick, a Dallas police officer, sir. I filed a complaint against McCormick specifically and never said anything about suing the police department. I live in a gated complex and have my own internet access. McCormick is obviously used to living in an environment where tenants depend on a community server. It was obvious McCormick had serious afflictions manifested by an unsound mind when I encountered him in person, and he gave me reason to file a complaint. He has many YouTube accounts and apparently believed that no one will know who he is, as he uses disposable email addresses. YouTube afforded the little HICK anonymity where he finally could really shine, bully, and intimidate to his heart's content with his limited brain power. Hitting the keys, misspelling the simplest words. The USA 180 felons didn't notice, they didn't care. They had their hero, a police officer, which is a huge deal for any felon. But for me, the vivid realization of who he is, it took a while until it sank in that these outrageous, violent comments were posted by a police officer and public servant, someone sworn to protect me, sir. The problem with Officer McCormick is rather simple. He failed because the police department gave the little man tasks outside of his competency. I am convinced his problems stem from the fact that McCormick is a comparatively short man for a police officer. But what he lacks in height, he obviously makes up with stupidity and buffoonery. Since I was told by the Dallas Police Department that he is a well-known hick and bully, I shudder to think how many innocent people Napoleon has terrorized. This boorish, uneducated man is drunk with perceived power. Why this officer is allowed to oppress the public, and I can't reiterate often enough that I do not believe I'm the only victim, sir. Chief Kunkle, I respectfully ask you to please articulate to the public why McCormick has the support of his superior and can post death threats hundreds of times on YouTube, an international public forum. Friends and family in Europe are fluent in English and are absolutely shocked by this crazed, unbalanced character who knowingly aligned himself as a co-conspirator with a scam organization, USA 180. Here are the criminals McCormick is in cahoots with. Wade, a hillbilly felon who lives with his mother in a trailer. He started USA 180 with other felons and insists he is Dr. Mark Taylor. He also pretends to be a reverend with a PhD in behavioral science, but hasn't got a clue as to proper human behavior, much less a PhD. He successfully scammed globally with the Operation Playball fraud, although I am proud to say I pretty much dried up their cash cow. Playball died a peaceful death a while ago. Unfortunately, they're busy on to their next scams. You probably ask yourself, what does that have to do with me, Chief Kunkle? In his quest to destroy me for filing a complaint against him, your officer McCormick became a co-conspirator in an international scam, sir.